Hi everyone, Adrienne Everheart here with you. Tonight I'm discussing how to really heal your heartbreak like a goddess and really get in touch with the part of you that wants to heal, that you want to feel better and get on with your new life, but you also really love and care about that person. So often people say things to us like, get over it, or you're not over this yet, or I can't believe this is still bothering you, or, why aren't you over this yet? There's like supposed to be this magical period of time where you're just no longer grieving or missing a person. And it happens on my own group, which is I Heart Love Academy. It's a private, free group I run on Facebook where girls are like, pass. I would just pass on that man. I would just move on. And everyone really means well when they tell you that, but they need to understand that you're only ready to move on and you're only ready to pass and go to the next guy when you feel like it. And so often, even though a man has hurt us or we're suffering from heartbreak, and even if we're out there trying to date again and really get our lives going again, we're still feeling that pain and that loss of that person. So tonight I'm going to talk about that, how to get over heartbreak like a goddess. And I'm going to share so many tips and ideas with you. These are not going to be your empty, just get over it, decide to move on sort of advice. I really like to give you tips and tools that you can practice, that you can use in your life immediately, that are going to provide lasting change. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi to everyone who's joining me live. I'm so happy to be here with you all. As you may know, on May 4th, I'm hosting a live class called Fem Tools. And Fem Tools is going to be a one-day retreat just for you. And you're going to be able to join, and it's a low-cost class. Learn everything about dating, learn everything about your feminine energy tools, and be able to really cultivate this new part of yourself. And ladies, it's such an inexpensive class. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? We're going to have live Q&A in the class as well. So it's going to be loads of fun. You'll be with your sisters. Everybody will be able to chat. It will be fun. So hi from South Carolina. Anybody else want to check in and say hello? It's so good to see you all. Australia, wow. I love it when that just blows my mind when someone from Australia, I feel like that's the furthest place away from me. So hi, I'm so glad you're all joining. Someone had just chimed in and said that it was 0 degrees where they were at. Oh, and she's crying of heartbreak. Oh my goodness. Well, ask and it's given. Here I am. Toronto, Texas. Thank you everybody for checking in. So let's get right to it. One of the reasons I want to talk about getting over heartbreak is that so often we have to start dating in this process. And this is something that I cover in my Fem Tools dating tools in action class, is that often you have to start dating when you're still in love with another guy and you still really miss them. It could be your ex-husband, it could be your ex-boyfriend. And it just feels like there's so much that you have to just handle and cope with the heartbreak. How can you possibly start dating? So I'm going to talk about that. And just to get going, I want you to all know that a breakup is always more, it's more about what's going on in your life than the man. It's about the attachments to that man and the layers around him. So you're feeling this really deep loss, and your brain goes about trying to fix it. And that's what happens when we experience heartbreak, is that our brains decide, I can fix this. This is a problem. I can fix it. And that's why you're up all night and you can't sleep, because your brain is trying to fix it. Or if a coworker's ugly to you one day, you can't sleep that night because your brain is trying to solve it. So we're going to give you some tools to help with those parts, the kind of automatic parts that happen during a heartbreak. But first of all, just understand that your logical mind cannot solve an emotional problem. So logical brain can't solve an emotional problem. We're going to do the very best we can do here. However, so I always looked at heartbreak. I have a best-selling program called ABCs to Get Him Back, where I teach you about how to get over heartbreak, how to deal with it, how to learn to date again, but also I give you the absolute best chances to get your guy back. That's always up to you. A lot of times women go through this course of mine and they complete it and they don't want to get their guy back. More often than that, the man contacts them before they do what I call the Hail Mary pass, which is reach out to the guy. So the number one thing that most people tell you to do with heartbreak, most of the coaches out there, is they tell you to just distract yourself and to really go out, start dating, start new hobbies, take classes. I've said the same thing to my clients. I've had videos about that, just teaching you lots of tools about how to keep yourself distracted. And that's a huge part of it, because with just enough time and enough dating and enough practicing, you begin to unfold your life in a new path, in a new way, and that will bring about change. That will bring about lasting change that feels good and wonderful to you. So often we get to it through distraction. However, most of you are very, very smart. You're very keen to, I feel like I'm just staying busy until I don't miss this person anymore, or until I don't love them anymore. So I often tell my clients, go ahead and grieve. Grieving the loss of that person is part of it. Now, I've talked a lot about the artist who was someone in my life that I had to, that he just waltzed over to my house one day, broke up with me. I had experienced all these really traumatic things during my time with him. I'd even gone about finalizing my divorce and kind of rushed it up because of him a little bit. And then here he just walks over one day and goes, I'm done. And you see how that breakup's not just about that man, it's about all these layers involved with him. I was having a health issue. I had lost my job. A beloved pet had gotten into an accident in the home while we were away, while I was helping him with emotional stuff and being the boy. And it was just like every path with this man just led to a dark place. And yet when he walked out of my life, I saw him as the solution to getting my happiness back. But you see how it's all layered. So I went through so much grief. In retrospect, it really wasn't about that man too much. It was about all the things tied to that man. So first of all, if you're going through grief or you're still mourning the loss of someone important in your life, I want you to just make a note in your journal or pen and paper and talk about a little bit about what parts of your life were connected to that man. So if you take a piece of paper and you draw a circle in the center of that paper, and that's the man. From that, wow, you can't see this at all. It's just so white. I think you can see it. From that, you want to have lines that come out that are things that had something to do with that man. Whether it's your job, or it was maybe that you were getting out of another relationship when you met that man, or maybe you were finally able to open your heart about addiction or an eating disorder or a crappy childhood, whatever it was. There's just going to be lines attached to that man, and you want to go through and find out those lines, because I'm getting to how that's going to help you in that process. So I want you to figure out the things that were attached to that man. And hi everyone just joining. I saw a bunch of people just pop in from some really cool places. Montana, Florida, ooh, Portugal, Vegas, and Greensboro. Hi Janet. And Georgia, Toronto, more Texas. Thank you all for showing up. So once you have that man in the center of that circle and you have all your lines going to all the things that were associated with him, and you may have tons of lines, you may have a line that connects to another circle that connects to something else. It may just grow from there. But go ahead and take your time and map out all the things that were interconnected to this man in your relationship. Because here's the thing, deep down inside of you, when wounded child isn't running the show, you are very well aware that if someone does not want you, that if you are not good enough for someone, well, goodbye. Right? You know that deep down inside, that if that man does not recognize how wonderful, beautiful, lovable, and amazing you are, well, then just bye-bye to you. You see, you don't need him. You don't need that in your life. You don't need to go and try and convince someone to love you. So often I ask my clients, if we could really do this, if we could really somehow force this guy, make him love you, make him want to commit to you, if we could really do that somehow, is that really how you want to do it? Do you really want to have to pull all these strings and do all this magic to make that man love you? Is that really, really what you want to do? So for all of you who are contacting psychics and getting love spells and spending all your money on tarot readings, I will tell you that a man can change his mind very, very quickly. He can change his mind in a month, a week, a day, a minute, a second. A man can change his mind very, very quickly. So often your psychic may tell you one thing today and tell you another thing tomorrow. And you're like, wait a minute, the psychic's giving me two different answers about things. Men change their mind. Men change their mind, and we can't control how long their mind is going to stay the same thing. There have been times that my male clients have told me that they were really sure they wanted to break up with a woman, and then they go and they have this one experience with her, and they realize, I love this person. This is who I want to marry. With my first husband, it was me yelling in a Old Navy store. He thought I had hurt myself in this store. I was really gasping about something I just loved and was having a good time. But in that moment, he had some sort of deep reflection and realized, I want to take care of this woman. I want to love her and take care of her. So you see how quickly they can change their minds. All right. So I'm moving on here. Someone had said, what if you were the one who did the breaking up because he wasn't fully committed in the relationship? Well, it's kind of the same thing, really, because they're not committed fully, whatever that means. I'm assuming that means marriage, and that means, making a commitment in front of everyone that the two of you are together. And that goes back to, I know what I want in life, and that's to be a wife. My last breakup with my second husband, the guy I'm married to now, but when we were just dating, our last breakup was when I said, I want to be a wife. And he laughed at me. And he said, well, it's not going to be with me. And I said, okay, I'm going to be moving on. And I had to walk away from him, give him some time to sort that out. So moving on, we've got distractions. That's where you dump out your purse, clean out all the cabinets in your house. Get your house man ready. This is an ebook that I share with you if you sign up for my FEM class. So you distract yourself, you date lots of guys, you stay busy. You can grieve him for a certain amount of time. Allow yourself time every day to cry and remember that person. I talk about the tap your heart and send him love. If you think about him, you're just brushing your teeth and you feel that person and miss them. Have that love in your heart for them and tap your heart and send them love. That helps you instead of just like missing them, crying for them and pining for them. That doesn't help them heal either. And if they can heal, there's a good chance they'll turn back around and come to you. So that's what happens a lot in the ABCs to Get Him Back, my program. That's called honoring the past or the man. Oh my goodness. Someone had just said, I used your technique and sent love to a man I didn't communicate with. He didn't come back once I was quantum dating and tapping my heart. Did something. Now I just have to keep up the work. So a lot of times my clients will tap their heart and send someone love, and they'll get that text message for them, or they'll get a phone call. That happens a lot. So don't overthink it. Don't do this to have an outcome, because I'm going to talk about that. The next part is developing your life. Developing your life is the key to getting over heartbreak. Oh, she says he did come back. It was a typo. Okay, so you tapped your heart. Sorry. Thank you, Melissa. She was doing the quantum dating, tapping her heart, sending him love, and he did come back. It's fine if he didn't come back too, but I'm glad he came back. I think that by the time you complete the process into ABCs, you're on such a new level. You're in such a new place in life that if that guy comes back, he needs to be really ready to go and have it all ready for you and ready to go, because you are a new face in the mirror. You have a new energy. You have a new vibe. Okay? So the key to healing heartbreak is making headway into your future. It's about developing your life and leaning into what you do want. I am with you today as a dating and relationship coach, a YouTube celebrity, all that good stuff. I do this full time. I have no other job. I'm a full-time love, dating, and relationship coach because a man broke my heart. That's why I'm here with you now. So there's a great quote from Deepak Chopra about that you just want to take whatever has caused you the most pain and turn it into something that you can make a living from. It's one of the most powerful ways you can do that. So I wouldn't be with you here if a man hadn't broke my heart and I hadn't suffered greatly in trying to figure this out. Like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with them? You see? So when you develop your life and you make headway into the future and you lean into what it is you desire. So, for example, you have the man that walked out on you and you're desiring him and desiring him and desiring him. You're basically telling the universe, I desire a man who isn't in front of me. I desire a man that I either dumped and had to get rid of, or I desire a man who dumped me and had to move on. That's what you're telling the universe, and that's what you're telling yourself, and that's reality. Is that that's what I want in my life. Is that really what you want? Do you want back a man who doesn't want you? Now, this sounds just like a truth riddle or some sort of logical problem you need to solve, but it's important to have these conversations with yourself. So going back to your diagram here, where you have the man in the center and you have all the things that are attached to him. For me, it was healing my marriage, my first marriage. You know, that artist guy had walked into my life before my marriage was even over. And thank God I was able to have wonderful, wonderful times with my first husband. We took several trips to Florida. We had wonderful vacations together, and it's really some of the best time of my life. I still wasn't in my feminine energy. I hadn't figured everything out, but I never knew so much love in my life. And that man was my angel in that time. And so I look back on that, and I have learned how to be patient, loving, and caring, and how to really sit with someone, not solve their problems, but sit with them. So you go back to this man who broke your heart, and let's say you still weren't really over your divorce. I wish you guys could see this. But you draw a line out, a little circle. Maybe you can see it. And let me cover that light. No, I don't know why it's doing that. But you go back to that problem and you just ask yourself a couple of questions about what is it in your life right now about that situation that you're happy about? What is it that makes you excited about that, or proud about it, or grateful, Or what are you enjoying right now about that thing that was tied to that person? So let's take the example of I lost a beloved pet. So it was grief on top of grief, lost my job, grief. I was dealing with a serious health problem, more grief. I had a whole bunch of grief showing up in my life all at once. And that's where you can look at your life and go, that's it, I just quit. Or it goes back to that saying that, God only gives you as much as you can handle, or life only gives you as much as you can handle. So here you are, you're in it now, you're swimming with the sharks. You've got all this grief showing up in your life. And for me, it was a big wake-up call for how much I had been stuffing down my feelings about everything. And then at once, everything came knocking. Everything came requesting me to grieve for it, you see. So a lot of this was about developing myself instead of being this machine and being in my boy energy and being so logical. I learned how to unzip my heart and process my feelings in a new way. This meant seeing a grief counselor and really learning how to cry in a way or experience emotion. And I took a method acting class. And in this method acting class, which is different than regular acting class, to any of you who have access to a method acting class, I encourage you to take it. Because it teaches you how to authentically be in your body and find a memory and associate that memory to whatever you're reading in the play or the script. So it's real work to do method acting. That's why these method actors win all the Oscars and things like that. It's a lot of work to learn method. And I was doing a scene with a partner, and he just kept working on me and working on me. And he said, why don't you ever really tell us how you feel? And I'm like, I do tell you how I feel. He's like, no, you don't. I don't believe it. And I was like, I don't know what you don't believe. And we just kept going around and around like this. And this guy broke me. And I just started gushing tears. And in front of everybody, the whole classroom, and I just couldn't, I get tearful just thinking about it now. I couldn't stop myself. And he was like, doesn't that feel better? And I knew what he was talking about. So you really, for me, all that grief tied to the breakup was the dam needed to be broken. I wasn't processing how I felt. I was being so tough on the outside that I was like a robot. No one could identify with me. Who's gonna love that? Who wants to marry that for the rest of their life? You see? So part of getting into your feminine energy, discovering what you feel, follow the lead from that man that walked out on you, or that man you want to be with. That man is with you on your bridge, leading you to a new place. He's led you to me, and he's going to lead you to lots of new places. All right? So moving on, I made all these notes for this tonight, but I'm already 23 minutes into it, and I don't want to make it too long. But ultimately, you have to have a desire to be healthy and whole, and a willingness to practice just extreme self-care. Extreme self-care. Devote the next 30 days to just caring for yourself. And if you have children and you have a very busy life, a very busy schedule, if you can even set the timer on your phone for 1 minute, and for that 1 minute, just breathe and release all thoughts, just 1 minute, that's going to start you on that healing journey. Because remember, it's not the one book you read, or the 10 books you read, or the one class you take, or the one date that went well. That's not what creates the change. It's all of these things that do it. All of those things get you to this new place, you see. Sometimes the book you finally do read, it all clicks and it all makes sense, and a lot of times I show up in people's life when they're finally ready for that answer. And they're all these other sources, they finally put it all together with me. And I've been told that I kind of pop into your life when you're ready to have it all polished up and figured out. And I'm glad to be here with you. This is what I devote my life to now. So I want to talk a little bit about recovering from heartbreak, getting into your feminine energy. I've discussed a little bit my fem class. Please take this class with me. It's a very inexpensive class. You're going to learn so much, and I give you so many bonuses. You get your own little fem library, and if you can afford it, take this class with me. I have made it affordable for everyone. But recovering from heartbreak isn't about getting it right. There's no right or wrong. Again, it's 100 steps that lead up to this awakening, this illumination that you will have. You will be a different person after you take this class. I hope that you are slightly different even after watching a live video with me. So in the process of not getting it right, the one thing that stays consistent is you're going to be leaning into love. You're going to be leaning into what feels good for you. So a little something about me. I had no idea I was so fascinated with shipwrecks. I have a real fascination with shipwrecks. I like to look at books about shipwrecks. I like to watch TV shows about shipwrecks. And I thought, well, maybe I want to do diving and I want to dive for shipwrecks. I don't want to do that, but I like to know about shipwrecks. I like to read about them. You know, there's just so many places on this globe where ships have wrecked, okay? So that was something I didn't know about myself. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, do you like shipwrecks? I would have laughed at you. But if I hadn't have leaned into love and started leaning into what feels good to me, I would have never discovered this fascination I had with shipwrecks. How did it happen? Well, I was dumped and alone and I was at the beach. So I bought myself a $3 ticket to a museum and I realized I could not stop looking at these maps talking about shipwrecks. And then I found some men that worked there and they wanted to talk about these shipwrecks and then so on and so forth. And I just realized, oh my gosh, I love this. So I would have never known this had I not leaned in the direction of something that did feel good to me. So curiosity is the key. Curiosity about yourself is the key to that. So just some things that you can all think about to get in touch with your goddess energy. Your goddess energy is this energy inside of you that once you discover it, once you figure out how this works, you will never have heartbreak again. You will never experience the level of heartbreak that you have in the past. It will just not, it will not work that way for you because you'll be prepared, you'll have boundaries, you'll know how to keep your energy off the man until that man is committing to you and moving towards you. Oh, hi, I'm so glad you are all excited for the class. And if you can't attend live, it's recorded and I send it to you a little bit after. So here's just a couple of things you can think about. Some feminine energy things, inner boy things even. They help make your goddess stronger. Find out what you do love. Do you love flowers? Have you always wanted to take a self-defense class? Have you wanted to read 100 books in a year? It can be done, even if you listen to them on Audible. Do you want to learn how to cook a new dish and really master it? Do you want to learn a new dance? Do you want to get in the best physical shape of your life? Perhaps you want to learn how to sew some curtains. You see, I can just keep going with these things all day. I really recommend all of you, if you have the time, get some leadership training or even parenting classes, something that's going to help you make that outward change, okay? Oh, someone wanted to be a bodybuilder? Awesome, awesome. Join an investment group, ladies. Learn how to manage your money better than you're doing right now. Whatever you're doing right now, you've got a roof over your head. Maybe you don't have a roof over your head, but whatever you're doing now, you can be better at doing it. And especially with finances, this is something that's very near and dear to me, because so many people I talk to are clueless about finances. They don't know how to manage their money. So take some classes, learn how to manage your money and things like this. All sorts of ideas will start to come to you when you lean into love, okay? So I'm going to go over these really quick. Recovering from heartbreak. Some of these things I'm going to talk about in FEM. A lot of them I talk about in the ABCs to get him back. Abandon control. Let go of control. This is also known as surrendering. You're not in control of everything and everyone, including the man that walked out on you. You are not in control to him. And when you give up control, you surrender to the outcome. When you surrender to the outcome, you get to watch and observe where life takes you. One of the most beautiful things I ever did was quit trying to work things out with Jeff, the man who's now my husband. I am not working things out with you anymore. I let them solve themselves. And that's how someone, pulls up in front of your house one day on their bicycle, rings your doorbell, and asks you to marry them. That's the sort of magical thing that will happen to you too. I hear about it all the time. I hear stories every day of women just experiencing this beautiful unfolding in their life when they stop controlling it. So leaning back is about getting out of the way of your life so it can unfold. Hope that makes sense. You want to learn how to cultivate your real power, which is your real power as a feminine energy woman. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of say-so, you see. And when you learn how to embrace your real power instead of this, the illusion of power, which is the belief that you can control someone or control an outcome or make something specific happen with someone, and we go back to you, this is where you can explore that journey with that eagerness and that curiosity, you see. So when you're excited and eager and curious, the universe rewards you. And you will develop this rich, full, juicy life that I speak of. So when something feels disruptive to you, whether you're on a date with a man or something at work just doesn't feel right, and something feels disruptive to you, when you are in your real power as a woman and you're not going to control the thing that's disruptive, but start with you, that's when you experience great change. That's when you feel your most powerful. One of the greatest lessons I've ever learned is knowing what I can handle and what I cannot handle. Knowing what I can handle and what I cannot handle. I cannot have candy in my house. I will eat it. I will eat it. If there's chocolate to be had, I won't eat the whole bag or anything like that, but I will eventually. I cannot have candy in my house. It's best if I just walk past the bakery and don't look at the cupcakes. Because if I look at them too long, I'll make this decision to go get one. You see? I know what I can handle and I know what I can't handle. I can't do one-night stands. I can't go sleep with a stranger. It's like the last thing I could ever do. I have clients who tell themselves, I can go be with this guy. I like him. I can just go sleep with him a little bit and I'll be okay. And they call me up crying, hysterically, brokenhearted because they slept with the guy and he never called back. You see? Know what you can do and what you cannot handle. Someone said you're denying life's pleasure. Oh no, I'm not. Believe me, I get plenty of sugar. I just can't have it in my house. You see? Okay? A lot of women have a desire to be seen and heard, and we do nothing about it. And this is where you want to dream and explore. where you want to be seen and heard at in life. Okay? Is this the real Hillary Clinton? I'm getting a Hillary Clinton messaging me asking me what type of sugar. Hillary, if this is real Hillary Clinton, you know who I am and I know who you are. So I doubt it's the real her. But what type of sugar? Any, even fruit. I love fruit. All right. So you want to do the work also. I can sit here all day and tell you all the tools and tips and tricks that you need to be doing with your life. But if you don't commit to doing the work, nothing's going to happen. So a moment ago, someone said, what if you know all these great hobbies and things like this that you can do, but you're just not doing them? So this is where you want to stick with what sticks, okay? You want to stick with what sticks. If you're already good at something, you guys are cracking me up in chat. Someone just said, Hillary, be careful, Bill is getting into mischief. All right, you guys. You're making me laugh. So stick with what sticks. For example, one of the things I was good at post-heartbreak is I had a little app on my phone that measured like a pedometer. And not every day, but about 5 days a week, I would commit myself to 3 miles a day with one activity. So I would, like walk for 3 miles, or I would walk for 3 miles. And I fell in love with that process of running, walking, jogging. And I made friends with my treadmill during the winter time. And I went with what stuck. I was good at that. And then while I was on my treadmill, I would listen to podcasts, or I would listen to other people who are relationship coaches, or I would listen to books about relationships. And I started piecing together the thing that eventually became my career. So you have to start with what you can do right now, and then bump it up just a little bit, just a skosh, you see. You can't dive all in or you'll get overwhelmed. And as we've already discussed, know what you can do and know what you cannot do. Okay? So start with what does feel good, all right? Last tip, be patient and loving and kind with yourself. If you can't love all parts of you, the man can't either. So this is where you gotta take the time out to just give yourself a hug, look in the mirror and say, I love you and you're beautiful just the way you are. Practice forgiveness. If you have a bunch of ugly thoughts popping into your head, oh, I hear you and I forgive you. I forgive you for saying that, for thinking that. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for telling me whatever it is. I hear you. I love you. And watch how quickly it will just pass away. So any thought that pops in your head, if you chew on it and you resist it and you struggle with it, it gets bigger. Because your brain goes, ding, 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 we just found a problem we need to solve, you see. I wish I could pronounce that. I think I know what that means in like Hawaiian or something. I think it means like no problems. You guys are gonna have to read the chat for that one. I'm not gonna even touch it. So anyway, I finished all my notes. I've talked about everything I want to talk about. And it's time to open up Q&A. Someone just said, I listened to you at the gym and in my walk, I listened to you with my doggy. Oh, that's good. And I agree that exercise is a good way to get out of your head. Stop waiting on your phone. Oh, and you love me. I love you too. Mwah. I'm glad you mentioned that. There's a workbook called Get Out of Your Mind and Into Your Life. I think it's Stephen Hayes. And I really recommend this. It is a real workbook though. This is not like a self-help book you just read. It is a workbook. It is the most difficult thing I've ever done. That workbook. I did it years ago. Let me go back up. Oh yeah. I wish I could say that, but this word I can't pronounce. I know what it is because I did that meditation and it means I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, and thank you. Very good. Someone said, my boyfriend and I have been going through a rough patch. Yesterday we had a fight, and today I called him and texted him 1,000,000 times, and he's not picking up and answering. I'm going crazy. Well, I tell you who's going crazier. He is, because you won't leave him alone and give him the time and space to solve the problem. So men actually recharge their testosterone. Gets a recharge when they're away from a woman. When they can get away from us for a little bit and they have to miss us, and that gives them a boost of testosterone and they come back around. So give them that time, give them that space away from you. Go do your own thing. Tonisha is laugh crying. I'm not sure why. Any other questions? Or you guys just want to chat with me? I'm looking for another one. Oh, someone said, how often should you practice self-love? Every day. And even if you want to translate that into something that is a little more personal, that's an option too. When you love yourself, whether that's taking a bubble bath, you know, being good to yourself, putting lotion on your skin, touching yourself, taking good care of your hair, your nails, things in your house, whatever it is, when you're a goddess on a pedestal and you're getting pleasure, you're getting your life the way that you want it, your frequency goes even higher, 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 and higher, you see? And men can feel that. They can feel that. So they can tell that they're with a high quality woman because of how you treat yourself, okay? Let's see here. In Over My Head says, I'm curious if you think hormonal birth control interferes with feminine energy. It makes me feel awful. I wish there was feminine energy way to control fertility. Well, I would make a good joke. So birth control, if the method you're using is what works for you, I'm not encouraging you to change it. However, I could not take birth control myself, and I had to use other methods. I eventually went with an IUD that had a little bit of progesterone, and that worked great for me. And a good friend of mine has an IUD that has no hormone. So at the end of the day, whatever medication you're on, whatever you're taking, you are in control of you. And it's important to practice knowing the triggers of what gets you into your masculine energy with or without birth control involved. So at the end of the day, you're responsible for yourself. Do not blame it on your medication. And do what's necessary to care for yourself. That may mean getting off that medication. That may mean discovering other methods to care for yourself, because you're a goddess on a pedestal, and that's what a goddess on a pedestal does, okay? Someone says, how many times did you break up with Jeff? It is a total of 3 times. So twice from him, once from me. Can you give us more examples of I feel statements? Holly says, I'm still trying to understand how to use these. So Holly, do you have 500 ways to talk to a man? In the ebook, I teach you how to use feeling statements. There's no quick answer for that except what is in your body. You find the sensation and you find what you're feeling. In my whiteboard series on YouTube, I talk about the emotional parfait and how there are many layers to that parfait. And the first one is always going to be anger or disappointment. And then after that, you find your real feelings. And you can choose your words carefully with the man. Abir says, how can I relax and leave him alone when I'm not sure if we're over or not? Not knowing what's going on is what makes me go crazy. Not knowing what's going on. Rewind to about the 20-minute section of this video where I talk about getting out of the way of the outcome, getting out of the way of knowing. Abir, when you go to a movie, do you sit down and, or if you buy a book, do you read the last pages of the book? You don't. And when you go to a movie, you don't expect to just know how it's all going to end. You lean back, you watch the movie, you let it unfold with curiosity and a sense of joy inside of you. That's what I want you to do with this man. You have to trust that the universe has your back, that everything always is and always has unfolded for you just perfectly. If your energy's all over it and you're trying to control it and you're worrying about it, you're cultivating more of that vibe around the situation. So stop it. You got to go back and use some of these tools. Distract yourself. Lean into love. Lean into what feels good. Make progress with your life. Okay. Martina said, I just had a difficult conversation with a man due to our energy shift. I told him it seems like I'm becoming a booty call and want much more than that. I really need a way to shift my energy now. Kind of sounds like you already did it. If you tell a man, I'm feeling like a booty call, I'm really looking for regular dating. You know, it feels really good to go out on a date. I'm looking for regular dating, and I feel like all that's happening here lately is just you're coming over at, 11:45 at night. I don't want to do that anymore. That feels yucky to me. I don't want to do that. Part of me wants to. Part of me loves it. The sex is great, but I don't want to do this. I want to be in a relationship, and I want to be a wife one day. Okay? All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up. I think I got through most of your questions. If I didn't get to your question, feel free to write it in the comments section below. If you haven't already joined FemTools, please do. It is a really low-cost class. You get a library full of goodies from me. These are things that are going to help you starting right now and forever. I have women who contact me that have some of these library items, and they've had them for like 3-4 years, and they go, Adrienne, I just read your book on this. And by book, I mean a 5-page PDF. And they tell me all the ways that it helped them. So don't be like those women and just keep it sitting there. Take a couple of minutes at night, read through some of this material. It takes a lot of repetition. It takes a lot of repeating. But then once you get it, it's yours for life. You have it. There's no unlearning it. It's like forgetting how to ride a bicycle. You don't do it because once you know how to do it forever. So please join me for FemTools. I'm so excited about this class. It's a way to really connect with a lot of you that otherwise you can't get a class with me or private coaching with me or anything like that. So much love to everybody. You guys had some amazing questions tonight. I'm so proud of all of you. And I look forward to seeing you in class or at my next Facebook Live. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to share on your Facebook page or group page or with a girlfriend. Much love to y'all.